Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Warlock Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini mates, I'm fucking with them. Hype beasts, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
7 figures in this wave, 8 per case, 2 Wolverines per case, no Build-A-Figure part with Wolverine. You just need the 6 remaining characters to complete the Warlock Build-A-Figure. And there's a quick look at the artwork on the side panel. It is the same on the left and right flap. Taking a look at Wolverine, aka Old Man Logan, out of the package. And this is a very solid offering from this wave. Definitely one of the top figures in this wave, in my personal opinion. I think they did a good job overall. I don't really have too many gripes. 1 or 2 things that we'll get into, but the paint work, the head sculpt, the articulation, the stature of the figure, everything is pretty spot on. Absolutely no accessories with this figure. Like I mentioned, there's no Build-A-Figure part with Wolverine, but you would have thought that at the very least they could have given him a set of interchangeable hands so it can represent him in a relaxed state without his claws out. But no. And I guess it would have made too much sense for them to give us an interchangeable head so that way we can have 2 versions of Wolverine, not only the Old Man Logan version here, but a regular 616 universe or whatever universe they're referring to as the main Marvel universe now, a head sculpt to represent that Wolverine, and we would have easily had a regular Wolverine and street clothes. So yes, this version of Wolverine is an alternate reality or alternate future Wolverine from a different Earth other than the Earth 616 and Marvel Comics that was introduced in 2008, and a little mini series by Mark Miller, and the art was by Steve McNiven, who was one of my favorite comic artists. The art was just phenomenal on that series. It started on Wolverine issue 66, if I'm not mistaken, and it's like a 5 or 6 part miniseries, and I would highly recommend that you read that and check that out. It's a nice little fun story. You don't need any backstory or anything to jump right into that little mini, and that's where the character originated from first. And then after this whole Secret Wars thing that happened in Marvel Comics, the character was thrown into the regular Marvel Universe. Tell me in the comments below what they're calling it, that universe now. I forgot. And so that's where the character is now. And right now in comic books, he's actually leading a new team of X-Men with Bishop and Phantom Max and a couple of different people on there. Maybe I'll show a picture of that real quick. So there you go. He's leading a team of the Astonishing X-Men, and after the events of Secret Wars, and Secret Wars 2015, not the old school version, or not even the more recent version before that, where Nick Fury had put together a little team. The Secret Wars of 2015, which led to all of this stuff that's happening right now in comic books, all of those incursions and all of the different Earths and different characters from different Earths, pretty much converged onto the main 616 universe, which again, they're calling that something else now. Let me know in the comments. And a lot of displaced heroes from all of those different Earths are now in the main universe, and yeah, it's a clusterfuck. But so yeah, getting into the figure, I've said a lot, I've done a lot of backstory, but one more thing real quick. You should definitely read Secret Wars 2015, though. At least the main 6 or 7 issues. It was very good. I did enjoy that. I would definitely recommend that you check that out. But like I mentioned, this character is 2 per case. I see an issue already with this right arm, and this is gonna come loose from this this socket here. The double joint is not really working how it should, and that's a problem. And of course, with all of these Wolverines, you have an issue with the claws being bent. And I just think it was really stupid they didn't give us an interchangeable hand. But good news is you can pop these hands out and you can put in some other hands, which I'll show shortly. But looking at some of the deco here, I love the way the jacket looks. You can see the zipper here, you can see the pockets, you can see some nice details. The jacket does look like it's leather and looks like it's fur up around the collar here, and it looks very good. And you can see the shirt underneath there, and you can see his muscles and his abs, and he's got the the tight young people shirt on, even though he is Old Man Logan. And I think the head sculpt here looks very good. I think they did a good job of replicating the look from the comics and how he looks in the comics. And all of that looks good. You can see the pockets on the back of the pants and some folds and everything here. I think the deco overall is spot on to the comics and looks very good. You can see his belt buckle. Gucci? No, it's not Gucci. But yeah, it looks good. You can even see the belt through the loop here on the on his pants. So interesting. Just a close look at the head sculpt. Like I said, I think they did a pretty nice job on this guy. Looks good. Another thing I really like is that even though this is primarily a new body mold, they did a great job of matching the size and stature of this figure to the Wolverine that they released in the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave, so that way Wolverine is the right size here. So that's great. So looking at the articulation, this head can come off with no problem. It's on a ball joint. It'll look down that far. It'll look up just about that far. You'll get a deeper range of motion as far as looking up if the jacket was off. And you can remove this jacket. I'll get into that a little bit later too. Shoulders are on a ball joint. They're going to come up just about that far. They're hindered a little bit by the jacket here, so you're not going to get the shoulder to come up really, really far, but you can rotate it and put it out and do a full 360. You get an upper bicep swivel. You do get a double jointed elbow. Like I said, the one on the right side is acting kind of funny right now, and I'm afraid that it might pop out of the socket here, but the articulation is there. You get a wrist swivel, you get a hinge, you get a pretty decent ab crunch going forward, and it would go back more if it wasn't hindered by the jacket a bit, but it is there. The articulation is there. You get a waist swivel, which is great. T-joint at the pelvis. Legs will come up that far. They won't really go back because of how the butt is cut. Splits will come out just about that far. You get rotation at the upper thigh. You get a double jointed knee. You get a hinge on the foot and a nice ankle pivot. So it's a very good range of motion on Wolverine here. Couple of quick size comparisons. You can see my second Old Man Logan from this case on the left without his head and hands. I'll try to get into a couple of swaps with that momentarily. I didn't have any issues with that particular figure, just so you know. I opened that figure first. As a matter of fact, that figure came opened. So shout out to my man Farrell for sending me this wave, by the way. But that figure came open, and I've been messing with that figure and doing different things with that figure since the very beginning of putting out these reviews for all of these figures, and I've had no issue with that one. So the issue with this particular version with the right arm, I wouldn't say that that's something that's happening across the board. But on the right, you can see the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine, and you can see that the size there is pretty spot on, and you can even see that that Wolverine looks like it's maybe a little bit shorter, but it's really due to the fact that this Wolverine, the Juggernaut Wolverine, doesn't have a jacket and pants and things on. So it can really be attributed to the fact that the Old Man Logan has on more, and that's why he looks a little bulkier. But as far as the height and everything, it looks about spot on. It looks about right. And I like that they did that. I like that they kept with the theme of a nice short Wolverine. And I still got the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine here just for comparison. But on the right, you can see the Abomination Build-A-Figure Wave Wonder Man. And I took the hands from Wonder Man and put them onto the Old Man Logan. And that is an option. Only thing is the hands don't pop totally into the socket. You still have rotation and the hinge there. But for whatever reason, I haven't forced them all the way into the socket. I don't want them to get stuck or not be able to swap them back onto Wonder Man. But it still works fine. There's no problem there. And also hands from Iron Fist work as well. So he had quite a few different hands that you can use for Wolverine. And we know Wolverine is a martial artist as well. So some of those little funny hands from Iron Fist might work too. But you got the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Deadpool on the left and the Colossus from the same wave on the right, just for a couple more size comparisons. And there he is next to the old Toy Biz Sabretooth, and with the additional hands that come with Wonder Man that are semi-open. And the old Hasbro version of his new teammate Phantom X. And hopefully with that new team, Hasbro will be getting around to making us a proper Gambit. I'd like to see a redo of Phantom X on that new Spider-Man 2099 mold too. So here's the deal. In terms of head swaps with past Wolverines that we've gotten, if you want to do anything like that, you're going to need to invest in a Dremel. You're going to need a Dremel to make any of these peg holes on the older Wolverines larger to try to fit it on the body for here. And in my personal opinion, a lot of those older Wolverines, the heads are a little small in comparison to the body here. I'm not sure if I feel like ruining a bunch of my older heads to try to fit one on here. Not sure what I want to do about that. Oh, and by the way, this was the head from the old Toy Biz Weapon X Wolverine. This is the old Legendary Riders Wolverine with the jacket from, I think, the variant from that same series, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was the head that was originally on this particular body, and that looks really stupid. And so I had swapped it out for a different head here when I was kit bashing some of the older Wolverines. And here's an idea of how that original head might look on this body. I don't know, the proportions seem like they may be okay, but I just don't really like this face. It's too silly, too happy. I don't know. It could work for like an old, like sort of 80s Wolverine, I guess. I'm not sure, but again, I would have to do some dremeling. And this is the unmasked version of the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine, Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. This is from Toy Biz, and I'm not even going to bother messing with that head because it's going to be too small for the body. And taking it really far back, this is the Toy Biz Wolverine from like Series 3 or 4. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And it's funny because this head does kind of pop off, but you can see how that joint looks. You would have to remove this ball peg and then really Dremel out the rest, and I don't know if I feel like going through that. Plus the head would look kind of huge. It looks kind of crazy. Pretty nice detail, but too big for this body. This was when Toy Biz was just all over the place as far as scale. They released that big Wolverine that'll probably pair up better with Marvel Select figures these days. Old Toy Biz X-Men Classics House of M Wolverine on the left. And I do not like that head sculpt. I didn't like this figure. The figure is way too tall for Wolverine. It was a pretty horrible figure. I wouldn't even bother trying to swap that head onto this body. And just for a good laugh, here is the old Hasbro Ultimate Wolverine. This is probably one of the worst figures ever released from Marvel Legends ever. This made me second guess life itself and pretty much accept the fact that Legends was done when this came out. But they bounced back. You can see how horrible that looks, and I wouldn't even bother trying to use that head for anything. Looks like Wolverine is still healing from some type of injury. Looks like he's on meth. I don't know what's going on there, but I thought I'd show this just for a laugh. With me personally, with kit bashing, in order for me to kit bash something, I need to have two or whatever figure I want to use parts from, and I only have one of this Wolverine here on the right from the Jubilee Build-A-Figure Wave. So I never bothered trying to remove this head. For one, because I only have one, and two, because the neck peg for this is different. Hasbro went and did some funny style stuff and didn't give him a ball joint where you could just pop this head off, and I don't know why they did that. So if you have two of this figure, which I highly doubt too many people have two of this figure, as this wave was very scarce, then I think this head will probably fit the best in terms of proportions on this new body. Now this is the head that I really wanted to work out on this body. This was from Mayshelf. I have his information in the description below, and it was painted by my man Alex Garcia. But this one looks kind of small, and I would still have to do some dremeling to get this to fit on this body, and I'm not sure that I want to do that because again it looks kind of small in proportion to the body to me. I've seen some other people do it. It looks okay, but it still looks kind of tiny headish, kind of Beetlejuice-ish to me. I don't know. Whoa, that took much longer than I expected. That was a very long, extensive review, I suppose, but it's a good figure. It's definitely a good figure in terms of kit bashing and different possibilities. And like I mentioned in the Cyclops review, you can take the arms and the jacket from this figure and put it on that particular Cyclops. You can figure out some head swaps and hand swaps, and it's a lot to do with this particular body. So it's cool that this is 2 per case, being that you can do a lot of different things with kit bash, and it makes perfect sense. And you know, this is one that I would definitely not turn down, and I would definitely pick up. It's a solid figure overall and has a lot of fun factors. So That's pretty much it for all of the regular figures from this wave. I'll be doing the Warlock Build-A-Figure at some point. I'm going to backtrack and do the Titus Build-A-Figure too. Still a lot of content, still quite a few interviews from Toy Fair. Check out everything that I've been putting up. I've been putting out a lot of content. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.